is valuable. Thanks for spending your morning with us. The Elias Macco Show on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Trudy Mason sitting in for Elias, focusing now on the area around the Via Rail station in Dorval. Why? Well, because that whole area is going to get a little bit of a rejig. This is an announcement from Via Rail, a new multimodal transportation hub that will bring together its facilities for Via trains, EXO commuter trains, a shuttle to the airport, and connections to Montreal Transit. So here to paint the picture for us of this eventual project, Carl Elu, Senior Advisor, External Communications and Corporate Spokesperson with Via Rail Canada. Hello, Carl.
Hello, Trudy.
So this is a busy part of Dorval. It's kind of on the north side of the Dorval Circle, and on the east side of the ramps up to Côte de Liesse, you have the Via Rail station. On the left side, you've got the STM bus terminal. What is the goal in taking another look and creating an intermodal station?
So we have launched the co-development phase of the new integrated station in Dorval. The goal really is to have a one-stop shop for transit in the area. And as you said, we're bringing the Via trains, we're bringing the EXO trains and an airport shuttle at the same place on the single site where the EXO station currently is. And as you know, transportation offer in the area is kind of fragmented. And this is why we took a hard look at the situation and tried to find a way to improve the experience for passengers, simplify transfer, less walking, more predictable journey, and this is how this project came to be.
Where is the EXO station positioned in relation to the Via station?
So it is northwest of the station, as you said, with the Côte de Liesse highway going north-south and the track going east-west. So right now, you can move through the facilities. There are ways to go, but people who go to the airport or who are taking transit, they often have luggage, which can make it more complicated. And this is why bringing everything under the same roof is really an interesting way to make those transportation options more interesting for everyone.
So I'm just looking at the overhead map now. So you're basically moving the elements up north of the rail lines as opposed to where they are now, which is south of the rail lines.
Exactly.
This sounds like a big project because that means the Via station, the current Via station, would no longer be in service. It would have to be on the north side of the line. What about the bus terminal that's there too, the STM bus terminal? Will that be moving?
So we are currently working with all of the partners in the area. So as I said, the airport, EXO, the ARTM. We're also working with, the STM, and we'll see right now the project is in the middle of the design. And this is why the co-development approach is really great, is because we can take everyone's feedback, everyone's needs, and integrate it from the get-go into the project.
So it might not all be on the same site as what you're saying. Maybe you would opt, for example, for some type of a walkway over the tracks between the bus terminal on the south side of the tracks and the stations for EXO and Via on the north.
What we know for sure is that Via Rail and EXO will be in the same building, in the same station. But then again, the project still has time to evolve, and we are in discussions with various partners to see what's possible.
It just sounds expensive. I'll come right out and say it sounds expensive. Has any budget, and I know you're still in the design phase, so cost estimation is not easy, but is there any upward cap? Is there any minimum cost that you've looked at for this redevelopment?
So at this time, the budget and the timeline are yet to be determined. But what I can say is that we have received the funding from the government of Canada back in 2021 because they wanted us to have a hard look at the railway, at how we move across Montreal and try to find ways to reduce bottlenecks, to improve the fluidity, and this is exactly what we're tackling here with this project.
On a side note, has all hope been lost of eventually extending the REM from the airport to Dorval Circle? Because at the design phase for the REM, that was a big ask. They're pointing out that it's maybe 1.5 kilometers between the terminal and that junction of the 20 and the ramps up to Côte de Liesse, that when they had the drilling equipment, it would have been a good time to do it. Is there absolutely no hope of that happening?
Well, that decision belongs to the REM. What we're focusing on is what we can do today to improve, the experience of passengers. But it's also important to say that Via Rail does connect with the REM at the central station in Montreal. Yeah,
true. Although if you're going to the airport, it would be so convenient. I speak as a West Islander because we're already talking with our friends about how easy it's going to be to get to the airport from where we are, which is like St. Charles, and those points where we have a couple of REM stations. You can be dropped off there. They all have elevators for your luggage. You go directly to the airport. You have one train change potentially that you have to make. So I love integrated transit. It just makes it so attractive to use transit as opposed to car, when you can lug your baggage and you won't have difficulty. Has Via looked at any upgrades to the amenities at the eventual station it will be building?
Oh, absolutely. So the station will be 100% accessible, brand new. We're still designing. So right now we're about 15% into the design. There's still a lot to do. But again, this is going to be state-of-the-art building, state-of-the-art train station for our passengers and for the Dorval community who is using all of the other transportation options in the area.
Looking forward to learning more as the design process continues. Carl, thank you for the interview this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Carl Elu, spokesperson for Via Rail Canada. In a moment, we will take a look at how the federal by-election in Chicoutimi could possibly have a knock-on effect for the provincial election this fall. That's what one political analyst believes. First, though,
unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.
Breaking news. Considered. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
You've probably heard talk about the 3 by-elections, federal by-elections, coming up at the end of the month. 2 are in Ontario and are considered fairly safe bets for the Carney Liberals. Chicoutimi Fjord here in Quebec. It was opened up for a by-election when Mark Carney appointed the MP holding the riding to the Senate. The MP, who is a conservative MP. Now, some people are saying this is a very savvy move to try and shore up the Liberal numbers in the House of Commons to vacate that riding of a political opponent and then try to get your own MP established there. However, our next guest is saying this may be a bad bet and maybe a miscalculation by the Carney Liberals. Massimo Bergamini, Senior Associate Executive and Strategist, owner of Massimo Bergamini and Associates. Welcome to CJAD, or I should say welcome back.
Thank you very much, Trudy.
Yeah, we spoke not long ago on another issue. So you've written this piece in Le Devoir talking about how, to your analysis, this is not a slam dunk move by the Carney Liberals, that they may not understand what is going on in that riding. What are you seeing in that riding?
Well, first of all, I'm seeing a very dynamic environment in Chicoutimi by Fjord. It had been held provincially by the ATAC party. That vote and that coalition is beginning to splinter. We're seeing that provincially. And I believe it's going to have an impact on federal votes as well. So that's one dynamic that's at play. The riding itself in the last federal election was essentially a three-way race. I think there was about 1,000 or 1,500 votes that separated the first from the third place finisher. So very, very close. So already that suggests, a certain element of risk. But additionally, and this is where I am particularly concerned that perhaps the Prime Minister is overreaching, is that the thinking appears to be, as you indicated in your intro, that this would be a good way, a smart way to further weaken the conservative opposition and Pierre Poilievre's party. On the surface, yeah, that might seem to play. But given what I just said, given the fact that it was a very tight race in the last election, that the ATAC vote, which traditionally went to the Conservative federally, is splintering. The Parti Québécois won a by-election. So the Chicoutimi by Fjord encompasses two provincial ridings, and the Parti Québécois won a by-election there. In Dubuque, it is still held by the ATAC, but the sitting member is now sitting as an independent and has indicated he's not running again. So you're seeing a dynamic at play in that region of Quebec that is, at least on the surface, does not appear to be favorable to the Liberal Party. And that's where I say that, the Prime Minister seems to be acting a little bit like a gambler playing with house money. He appears, and his advisors appear to have seen an opening, a way to further weaken the Conservative opposition. But there are potential and very serious implications politically, not just in Quebec, but for the rest of Canada. That Quebec is heading to a referendum, a referendary election in October. The PQ is leading in most polls. This by-election, therefore, could be something that just gives an additional push, not just to the PQ, but to the very idea that we need to have not just an autonomous voice in Ottawa, but a sovereignist voice in Ottawa, with all of that entails for the upcoming referendum debate that has been promised by the PQ in the event of their election.
Is there nothing going on locally in that region, Chicoutimi by Fjord, that might make voters more inclined to side with Mark Carney in a kind of elbows up way in defense of local industry, for example, or resource extraction or whatever, you want to, however you want to look at it, that they might be thinking at a different level?
Well, that's an interesting point. And in fact, the Bloc Québécois candidate has been focusing her campaign very much on those issues, but arguing that defense of those industries requires a strong provincialist or sovereignist voice in Ottawa. I would say that there's a real risk looming. The Liberal candidate, Daniel Gobet, was the president of the Dairy Producers of Quebec. He's a dairy farmer from the region. He has been a staunch advocate for supply management and has argued strongly against any kind of concession with respect to supply management. Now, we know, based on media reports last week, that the supply management is on the table in the current discussions that are taking place between Ottawa and Washington. Not a complete dismantling of supply management, but certain concessions, and based on media reports, exactly the kind of concessions that Danielle Gobet has indicated were a kind of political red line for him. So I could see this dynamic actually boomerang against the Liberal Party, against the local candidate. And we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next few days. I mean, the deadline for the imposition that President Trump had set for the imposition of the 50% tariffs is coming up. It's on the 19th of this month. So we'll wait to see where the negotiations go. But there's a real risk factor there as well. So again, look, I'll give you an example of where I'm going with this. Joël-Denis Bellavance of La Presse wrote an excellent piece last week where he described Mark Carney as a bit of a combination of Jean Chrétien and Brian Mulroney. He says he has Jean Chrétien's tacticians, political smarts. I totally disagree with that. Jean Chrétien was a very cautious political operator. What we're seeing from the Prime Minister on a number of fronts is a readiness, almost a recklessness, to move extremely quickly to deal with issues and sort of dam the torpedoes, and somebody else may have to clean up the mess. And I think this one is particularly striking, given what's happening in Canada-U.S. relations, given the juxtaposition with the October elections. And again, I want to stress that this is very much Mark Carney's decision. There's a vacancy in Saint-Hyacinthe where the Bloc member resigned, stepped down, and which predates the vacancy in Chicoutimi Fjord. He did not call a by-election in what is a strong Bloc riding, but he clearly made a gamble that the Liberal Party would be able to slap down Poilievre's Conservatives, and I think it made boomerang.
And the outcome not so hot for the parties contending the provincial election, if, as you say, the riding is also always at the same time shifting towards the PQ.
Absolutely. I mean, for the Liberal Party provincially, I mean, this is that area, that part of the province has always been extremely difficult. And I think with this dynamic, I think you potentially, particularly if there's a softening of Canada's position on supply management, this does not bode well for the fortunes of the Quebec Liberal Party either.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights, Massimo.
Thank you. Pleasure as always.
Massimo Bergamini, Senior Associate Executive and Strategist, owner of Massimo Bergamini and Associates. After the news break, we will get some reaction to that meeting that involved the Montreal Police Chief, Fady Dagher, last evening. It had to do with the racism concerns that led to an entire shift of police officers in Montreal North being either suspended or reassigned. That's coming up.
Hey, I'm Ruby Carr, the host of the podcast Encore. Check out our brand new episodes featuring music from the show that everyone is reheating as we speak, Heated Rivalry. Join me as I go behind the songs that brought Shane and Elia together. I'll tell you the stories of Feist, My Moon, My Man, Wolf Parade's I'll Believe in Anything, and Tattoo's All the Things She Said, and how they all became a part of this global phenomenon. Stream Encore on iHeartRadio, Crave, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Missed something?
Subscribe to the Elias Macco Show podcast to catch up.
Available on iHeartRadio and wherever you get your podcasts.
Anger, impatience, lots of emotions expressed last evening as Montreal Police Chief Fady Dagher faced the public, talking about the racism suspicions that led to the dismantling of an entire shift of police officers at the station in Montreal North earlier this summer. He says that he has a plan in development to address the problem. He says that changing the culture of an organization could take 5 to 7 years. You're willing to wait that long? We will be asking a member of the Hoodstock group for some reaction.
Listen wherever, whenever, on your radio. Online at CJAD800.com. On your smart speaker.
Playing CJAD.
Or your phone. Through the iHeartRadio app. Where and when you need us. This is News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll. One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all.
Bryan Adams Radio.
I'm coming back to you.
Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Sounds great.
Stories impacting Montrealers.
News impacting Montreal. The Elias Macco Show.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
What is it that makes the white man think that he is more important than the black man?
À quand, Monsieur Dagher et autres, à quand l'éradication complète du racisme systémique au sein du SPVM? Nous sommes toutes et tous fatigués.
Je l'avais dit aussi, un changement de culture, ça prend entre 7 à 10 ans. C'est peut-être pas ce que les gens veulent écouter ou veulent entendre. À juste titre, vous trouvez que la situation aurait dû être corrigée et réglée depuis des années, si ce n'est des décennies. Je le pense aussi. Mais je ne suis pas un magicien. Je ne peux pas remonter le temps.
There you go. That was Fady Dagher, along with some of the attendees at that meeting last night to discuss the suspected racism within an entire shift of police officers working out of the station in Montreal North, Station 39. In dismantling the shift, in the end, 3 officers ended up being suspended. The others reassigned. There's an internal probe that's going on. Fady Dagher, you heard him just there, saying changing the culture of an organization will take 7 to 10 years, and that he's not a magician. However, you also heard how frustrated those attendees are with the lack of progress. One of them was quoted as saying, "We don't need more blah, blah, blah." Here to tell us more about the community's views about what went on, Cassandra Exumé, General Coordinator at the group Hoodstock. Cassandra, welcome to CJAD.
Thank you for having me.
Were you able to attend last night?
Yes, I did.
What were your impressions of what the police chief had to say?
I feel like it was a lot of blah, blah, like you mentioned before, and how it was mentioned in the other interview. I was really glad with how many people showed up. It shows that the story haven't died because of the vacation and the summertime. It's really important for us to show how important it is to fight for our rights as Black people, as racialized communities in Montreal North, and to show that Fady Dagher, it's not a problem of just 1 or 2 officers. There's a systemic issues in the police institution, and we're going to fight until justice is done. So yeah, that's how I feel.
He does seem to acknowledge that he knows that there's a problem, that he's fighting that institutional racism, as you mentioned, that there seems to be certain attitudes embedded within the police force. Is that at least a tiny bit of progress?
It's hard for me to call it progress, because what I heard yesterday, like the sentence that you just presented, that he mentioned he's not a magician. The first report regarding the police officers and the community started in 1988. So we have reports since the last 37 years that shows what the community needs. And we don't need a magician. We need somebody who hear what the community has to say and apply the changes that the community wants to see.
What are some of the changes that you at Hoodstock are asking for?
One of the main one is, I'm going to say it in French, but le moratoire sur les interpellations policières, which is something that was presented in the Harmony report back in 2023. And yesterday, one of my colleagues asked the question that why can he not apply that moratoire? And I think that's the only question that he didn't have like a PR answer to answer. So that's one of the things that we really want to add, because we have people who, from the age of 9 years old, young kids that already get attacked by the police by just being in a park at 9 years old with their friends. So that's an issue in the community, and that kind of approach needs to be stopped.
So I believe what you're referring to in English is kind of random police checks where you're approached and asked to produce ID, or you're approached and you're asked, what is your business in this location? What are you doing here? That's what you're referring to?
Absolutely. And they're saying, like, in 2025, police people need to know that they don't have to answer the question of the police, but who is there to check if they absolutely have that right. It's really hard. There's the power dynamic in a police officer is really strong, and nobody can check the police if they're doing their job correctly or applying their own plan. So that's what I'm referring to.
You mentioned that, this is the call for the moratorium on those random police checks. There are some people who believe there will not be any improvement until body cams get brought in. Is that also on your radar?
No, like body cam, there's body cam in the States that haven't stopped any people from dying from police brutality. If we go back to 2020, George Floyd was actually filmed for about 8 or 9 minutes on bright daylight, and nobody was able to stop this man from dying under the knee of a police officer. So it's not something that Hoodstock believes. I think people, like I mentioned before, power. If a police officer have the ability to press on and off on a body cam, like, we are not always able to see a police interaction with a camera, and I don't think that a body cam will make the specific change that we want to see.
Fady Dagher says that he is working on this plan that he's going to present sometime this fall in conjunction with community stakeholders. Is Hoodstock a part of that discussion, or do you know of any groups that are part of that discussion with the police chief at this point?
Hoodstock was born after the death of Fady Dagher, so it's been 18 years. Something that we're not doing is sit with the police and hear the same, let's say, story or plan over and over again. So it will not be taking place or conversation with police officers or Fady Dagher, because we really know and feel that this institution doesn't really want to make changes. So we're using platforms such as yesterday to ask questions where there's politicians also involved that can push a change also. And I'm not aware of other partners in our community who are working with the police right now.
Is that not a danger, though? Wasn't it Mark Carney that said at lunch, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu?
I mean, we like I mentioned before, we have been presenting things to the police officers for the past 18, 20 years. We are repeating ourselves over and over again. There are groups who are comfortable to sit with the oppressor, if I can call it like that. We're not. But what we are doing is taking place in the media, empowering our community to go, for example, to their conseil d'arrondissement and demand change from the politicians, just to make sure that, yes, we may be not on that table, but we're in other tables that are also involved in the changes that we want to see in not only Station 39, but in the police institution as a whole.
Cassandra, I appreciate the interview. Thank you for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
Cassandra Exumé, General Coordinator at Hoodstock. And a programming note, Chief Fady Dagher will be the guest of Aaron Rand on Montreal Now after the 4 o'clock news this afternoon.
Canadian women are looking for more. more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Man. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Trudy's sitting in. Want to bring Jay Farrar in because apparently the trivia show, Jay, which you do with Joey Elias, is hitting the road. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, we have another road show coming up tonight, actually, over at Hurley's Irish Pub. It's pretty much the CJAD trivia show done live right there in front of you. So we play all the similar games that we do every Sunday, the slingshot, the showdown, the audio quiz, and it's a lot of fun. So come out tonight at Hurley's. It's an 8 p.m. start. It's $20, $20 covers. We have all kinds of prizes that we give away as well. And it's fun for everybody. And it's part, of course, of the world's smallest comedy festival.
Oh, yes.
Yes, which is organized by Walter Ling.
All right.
Yeah. Tonight at Hurley's. Come by. Me and Joey.
Anytime you and Joey get together, it's always a laugh. So.
It's a disaster. Yeah.
No, it's a laugh.
Oh,
it's
okay,
always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
okay, now we're going to talk about sardines. Why? Well, because there's a story in the National Post today about how this is a sardine girl summer. Why? Well, apparently the younger generation has rediscovered sardines and they're all in. They're all in for a number of reasons. One of them is a notion of eating your skincare. So this is big on TikTok, how you're supposed to use your nutrition to, make your skin as healthy as it can be. I mean, who could be against that, right? Better than taking supplements or all kind of injecting weird things in your face. So I don't have a problem with that. But it's all also tied into fashion, fishy fashion, apparently. That explains all the women with silvery fingernail polish and bags that are shaped like fish and so on. It's also for the protein because sardines and other canned fish, because it's not just sardines, it's canned fish in general that are seeing a huge upswing in interest from lots of not just your grandfather's sardines anymore. Lots of people. It's the protein as well. And I read this and I thought, those protein people, first they came for my cottage cheese and then I couldn't find it in the supermarket anymore. Now they're coming for my sardines.
Sardines used to be like pistachio ice cream. There'd be plenty left over and you'd be able to get it.
Yeah,
nobody's eaten it since 1971. Yeah,
and now I'm going to be paying $5 a can for my Brunswick in tomato sauce. What?
Oh no!
These protein people, give it a rest. But I actually love sardines. The guys in the newsroom tease me when I bring sardines for lunch because it's the odor is sometimes.
Depends what kind. Yeah.
But I remember people always say, oh yeah, my grandfather, used to eat sardines. And I remember when we were young, my mom used to make us sandwiches, sardines mashed onto toast with pickles. And that's still the way I love them. Not with the toast anymore. I just slice sweet pickle into sardines and eat that on a salad. It's great. Wow. Do you guys eat? Do you folks eat?
I've had fried sardines before, and they weren't too bad. Granted, maybe because they were fried. But pure sardines themselves, I don't remember if I've ever really tried it.
No, not even the ones in the hot sauce you can get now, or the tomato sauce, or the.
No, not really.
No. What about you, Jay?
My grandmother used to make them from scratch.
Oh.
And buy the small sardines in the store, and then because my grandparents were from Greece, she would make it with lemon and oregano and oil. And my grandfather used to feed them to me when I was a toddler. And these aren't the sardines you find in the can that are boneless with no head. These were the full thing, and my grandfather expected me to devour the entire sardine. It's good for you, boy.
Did he cut off the head?
No, you'd eat the head.
See,
this is a different people from the hills of Laconia in southern Greece. Yeah,
I'm kind of The figuring that the bones in the sardines are like the bones in the salmon. You're supposed to, you get a can of salmon.
Yeah.
And you take out the big spinal pieces, but you leave the little ones because that there's there's calcium in there.
And they're pretty much digestible. But I remember once one caught my throat. My grandfather gave me a smack on the back, and that ended pretty quickly.
Ooh.
So I was okay again.
I never knew they could be hazardous that way. I'm only really familiar with the canned kind. Apparently they're getting fancy too, because of course overseas where the diet is much more seafood based, they have a long experience canning sardines. So you get
Mediterranean diet.
Very high quality canned. Whereas I think in North America we associate things in cans with lesser quality for some reason.
Processed foods.
Yeah, maybe.
Sardines are not, though. Apparently they're fresh in the can, and they're extremely, as you mentioned, very healthy for you.
Yeah, if you think about canned food, you're usually talking about like tuna, Spam are usually the main front two in North America. I'm just thinking as well with sardines. I'm just thinking back to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. With the father with the sardine company, he was just ahead of his time.
That's it.
2026 right now, he'd be a billionaire.
Sardine girl summer. Who would have seen that coming? I'm telling you. Barbecue sardines are the best, according to this texter. Don't they fall through the grate? They're pretty small. Yeah, I think you'd have to use a grill basket. No,
maybe some foil?
Maybe some foil.
Yeah, like the way you would cook a salmon on the barbecue.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued now.
Now I want to go to buy sardines.
Yeah, I want some sardines
cook
now.
them as opposed to buying them in the can. I'm just wondering if if the taste is anyway. So we are in the midst of a sardine girl summer, by the way, and if you cannot find sardines in the store, or you end up paying $9 a can for the fancy imported kind, blame the protein people. And the people who think you should eat your skincare. I'll be back in a sec.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll. One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all.
Bryan Adams Radio.
I'm coming back to you.
Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Sounds great.
Well, this texture says full-size sardines are pretty big. The sardines you get in the cans are small fry. Can I say that? Yeah, I will. Thanks very much to Maxime Kedat and Jay Farrar for putting the show together. Enjoy your afternoon.
This newscast brought to you by Supermarché Ackevan, where fresh, hot bread is baked on the spot every day. Freshness you can taste, quality you can trust.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my gosh. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus, now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch